Hey everyone, and welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at the box model inside of CSS. So whenever we are creating our div tags here, it is creating basically a rectangle on screen that is containing all of the data, okay? And I think the best way to demonstrate this is by setting a background color for our div tag here. So what I'm going to do is give it an ID so that we can modify it inside of CSS. I'm going to give it an ID of box here. All right, we can save that. Go over to our style sheet now, and I'm going to create the hashtag ID right here since we are modifying an ID. Actually, no, not hashtag ID, hashtag box. Hashtag means we're basically going to modify an ID, and then we enter in the ID name afterwards. Add now squiggly brackets, and I'm going to give this div a background color of yellow. So we can go background dash color colon yellow semicolon. Hit run, and you'll see here that our div container has the text hello box model inside of it, and the dimensions of our div is this yellow color right here, this yellow rectangle. Now what we can do in CSS is actually modify the size of this div container. Maybe you want to have a sort of more rectangular or sort of a more squarish looking shape. We can of course do that. We can also make the width different, as well as adding in padding to the left and right so that this hello box model isn't hugging the left corner of the div. So how do we change the width first of all? Well, we can change the width by going to a new line here and simply typing down width. We can go semicolon, and then we can modify it in terms of pixels. So we can specify a hard-coded pixel size. And for this, we can go something such as 200 px for pixel. Put a semicolon there, click run, and you'll see that the yellow ends right here. So the size of this div container has changed to be 200 pixels wide. We might also want to change the width, the height, so it's a much higher up. And for that, we can go height colon, and let's just say 100 px. Run that, and click run again, and there we go. You can see that this yellow container is now looking more square. Okay, but our text here, it's still hugging the edge of the screen. We want it to be more in a bit. And the way we can do this is with padding, okay? And padding basically adds a sort of barrier inside of this div container so that it pushes all of the elements in a bit depending on the padding that you're specifying. In our case, we want a 20 pixel pad around the corners. So to do that, we can go padding, colon, and then give it something such as 20 px. Okay, hit run, and you should see here that we now have 20 pixels on each side being applied to the padding. Okay, so there is a 20 pixel gap from the left, right, up, and down sides of the div container here, so that the hello box model text is not, hugging the edge. And the same works for all elements that are applied inside of these two div tags. If you have an image, it will also have the padding applied. And this is really good if maybe you want a bit of a border around your content. Maybe you don't want your paragraph sort of right up next to the side of your web page. You might want it in a bit. And overall, div containers are very powerful and can be used for a large number of different things to contain data. And in the next lesson, we are going to be continuing on with this by looking at border margins. Okay, so I'll see you all then in the next lesson.